Hi everybody, welcome to week 2 of the summer semester. We've only got 8 weeks, so let's just get in on it. We're going to do our only assignment of the semester, and I decided I'm introducing you to 2 new stitches, one knit and one crochet, and I'm introducing you to a project that's kind of easy. Depending on which one you choose, it takes a little more time, but it's really a variation of our swatch projects we do, where we learn 2 stitches and do a swatch. So this week we are going to do the knit version. We are doing the broken rib knit stitch. I hope you like it. I'm doing it in the hand towel version. I'll give you the dishcloth version too, or dishcloth, washcloth, hand or face cloth, whatever cloth, like works for you, but you can use this in the kitchen or the bathroom. So, and you can make a set. So that's fun. Okay, broken rib stitch. Here we go. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're gonna start our knit stitch. So I told you I was making the hand towel version. Hand towels, oh, I have a lot of threads. Hand towels in general, let me just fold this so it looks like it's done. I need to still bind it off. Hand towels in general are about 15 inches wide by 30 inches long. Actually, really, you don't have to have it you don't have to have it be 30 inches long, but it just, if it's that long, it looks nicer hanging from like a towel ring or a towel bar. Or the oven, wherever you hang your towels from. Some people hang them from hooks, and so I will show you how to put a loop on your towel if that's what you want. So for this project, we're going to start with, I love this cotton yarn in a pale denim color. So this is yarn from Hobby Lobby. It's hard to read the label, but this is what the label looks like. And here's the color. Soft denim. And it's actually a really nice, I thought it was like partially nylon, partially cotton, but it says it's 100% cotton, which is nice. And it's quite soft, which is not really normal for a cotton that you get from, like, say, a Joann's, a Michael's. But yarns are getting better and better every day, so we might get more and more selections of cotton in our craft store. I remember 10 years ago we barely had a selection of anything. Okay, so we start with that yarn. This yarn is actually, let's look at the label, because it's important to understand your label. You get 180 yards with your yarn, or 165 meters if you're European, or you're more used to using meters than yards. They also give you the weight, so that you can calculate how much weight, if you just have a ball of yarn, how much weight equals how many yards. So 3.5 ounces equals 180 yards, and you'd make the equation, but we're not that advanced here. So what we need to see is our ball is a size 4, and how many stitches makes a 4-inch gauge. So I'm going to uncomplicate things. I'm going to use the exact needle that they use, okay? So the 8. So 18 stitches that you cast on here equals 4 inches. So if I want to get to 15 inches, okay, I have to calculate that out. So what I found out was basically if I round it up to 16, I can just multiply this number by 4 to get 64, I believe. Something around that amount. But that's what I cast on, was 64 stitches. So we'll start that. One other thing I just want you guys to see. This this yarn says that you can machine wash and dry it. The little triangle means dry clean, so it says don't dry clean it. But you can machine wash it here, and you can dry it, and you can iron it. So I would pick, if you're going to use something you know that you're going to use all the time, something you can throw into the washing machine, okay? Don't pick something super fussy, something you have to hand wash, especially for a hand towel. You're going to cry tears of frustration because you'll never use it. Okay. Alright, so I have my yarn. I'll just let you know right now, if you're attempting the hand cloth version, or no, sorry, the hand towel version, the long one, you're going to need 2 balls of yarn. So that's just it. If you're doing the smaller one, the 8-inch, you only need 1 ball of yarn. Okay, so I'm starting with a number 8 needle, okay? So I just wanted you to know, if you were doing the face cloth version where it's like 8 inches by 8 inches, you would pick, you'd just double this. So this would be 4 inches, okay? Because it says here, gauge for 4 inches by 4 inches. So this is not such a big deal, the 23 rows. But 18 plus 18 is, gosh, what is that, 36? It's 36, so that's what you would cast on. So because broken rib is not really a rib, but it does look nicer when you have more stretch, like more give to it, you would want to give yourself, say, a stretchier cast on. So let's give yourself a stretchy cast on. I'm gonna do a long tail cast on. So remember, I think it's just safer to do like 2 or 3 arms length of it. I'm gonna go ahead and just start the hand towel version. But see how I did the slip knot? It's a little trickier because you don't have an end. So I like to go around a finger, twist, go around a finger like this, okay? 2 long tails, twist, go down, and bring this, okay. Bring one of them through, like that. 1 leg, okay? So wrap it around, twist, and then bring 1 leg through. It might take a little bit of patience. Now I can't do it now that I have to explain it to you. Okay, you just take 1 leg through that. Alright, so I put that on the needle. And remember the long tail cast ons with the L, so I have to go like this in the middle of my 2. And I'm gonna go underneath and over top, like that. Let's see. You know, you guys, when I do it on camera, I can do it, but it's like, I have trouble. Okay, so that's how you do it. You go here, and then up and around like that. Underneath this one, that goes to the thumb, and this one that goes directly to the cast on. It's definitely one of those things you have to practice. You saw how I was doing it. I needed a moment to figure out what I was doing. So, some people are really good at this. Some people have to drop it each time. But you're going to do 64, okay? So see, I dropped it. I just bring, right here, bring my fingers in between both, open up. like an L, like a loser sign. And then don't worry about tightening this cast on because of the nature of the cast on. It's so stretchy. That's what it looks like on the bottom too. You know you're doing it right if it looks like that. Because the nature of this cast on is so stretchy, it just is going to accommodate. So even if you cast on and you pull it tight, see how mine's has some resistance against the needle. You don't have to worry about it. I'm going pretty fast. There's one. Two. You don't have to turn it this much when you're doing it either. Under. Around. And through. Under, around, through. Okay? Maybe I won't do the hand tolerance. Maybe I will just go to the 36. So what do I have? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. And one more makes 27. Let's get to 36. How about that? Sorry that it's not. See, I made a little boo-boo here. Something happened where I twisted it funny, but even if you do make a boo-boo like that, it's not noticeable. Okay? It's also better to have a longer tail than a shorter one, because then you have to go back and fix it. So, let's see. I'm sure I have like 34 or 35, maybe 36 by now. Okay, let's count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 37. Okay? Always count twice. I won't for you for this demonstration, but this should be enough for 8 inches, okay? An 8-inch washcloth. So we're going to do that. Okay, so now that we've finished our long tail cast on, let's start our first row. So this pattern is interesting in the fact that I like my front of my rib to be the second row. So this first row is going to be actually a wrong side row. Normally the front row is a right side row. Okay, so for the first row, just this first row only, we are going to knit the first stitch. Otherwise, we're going to have something called a selvage edge, which is where we slip that first stitch. Okay, so we're going to knit the first two, then we're going to alternate. So we're going to go knit, purl, like we're ribbing. So that's a purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. So this is the first row, and it's important that you get your rib right, because if you have to go back, you have to take it all out. So that's the hard part about the first row. So pay attention in your first row. So first row is 2 knits and then purl and knit repeating to the end. Okay? Not too hard, not too tricky. It makes sense, it just doesn't seem like it does. So just go to the end. So just keep going to the end. And just check every now and then to see that it's going right. This is a purl. This one's a knit. Purl, knit, purl. Harder to see on the first row, but it's something really you have to just be trained to know. Okay. So it looks like I completed everything here. Okay, so I've got my first row. Knit 2, then purl, knit, all the way to the end. Okay? Generally, I think you end on a knit stitch if you have an even amount of stitches. Okay, so let's start the next row. This next row is the right side, and this is super easy. I love this. So we are just going to slip the first one knitwise like that, and then knit all the way to the end. Literally, we just knit. So whatever gets you to the end of the row. You might not see it your first row or two, but after about 4 rows, I promise you'll see it. It starts to have this cool effect. So I'm almost to the end here. It doesn't take me long to get to the end of a row. I'm not bragging. It's just when you're making something small, it shouldn't take you too long. I mean, it can. It's okay if it does. Okay, so all we did was slip the first stitch and then knit all the way to the end. See kind of how that looks so far? Right now it just looks like a rib, which is fine. But let's start the next row. So the next row is going to be the row that you continue like how you did before. So see this row right here? It's all knit stitches. So this is the back of a bunch of knits. Okay? So now it's going to take shape. So slip the first stitch knitwise. And we're going to knit our first stitch. And then purl the second stitch. So now we're going to just complete that rib by knitting, exchanging our knits and purls each row. So if you can see it, it does this thing. So here's the knit stitch, and here's the purl. So it gives you this bumpy look. And when I finish showing you how to do the stitch, I'll bring you back with my other, my more complete hand towel and show you how I bind off with that. Okay? So this is so simple. You literally just do the first stitch, the second row, and the third row over and over again. So just make sure, see, this is your knit here, and this is your purl here because it has the bumps. I know it seems like it's not that hard, but so just continue to the end. Takes me a little longer to do a rib versus just a bunch of knit stitches. But, you know, looks a little funny right now. But when I turn it around and show you, you'll like it. Alright, okay, so I'm going to turn it around, finish that row. I purled the purl stitches and knitted the knit stitches. So look at that on this side. Look at how it creates a rib here, but it's not super condensed. It lays flat. That's really cool. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to cast off and then make that loop for a hook. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to cast off. So I'm back to my hand towel. And I'm going to, I had just finished a knit row. So this is what your towel looks like. This is the front of the broken rib and this is the back. It looks very nice. So what you're going to do is we're just going to knit. Actually, I think I'll just slip this because that's how I would have done it anyway. And we're going to knit all the way across, but casting off. So when you cast off, you only do 2 at a time. And you slip the first stitch over the second one. You can tighten if you want. You don't have to. I like to tighten a little because then you can control how it sits. So this is not the stretchiest cast off, but because there's several types of cast offs, but this is a pretty good one, very standard, so it's okay. You can do it this way. So if we're gonna put a loop on the end of our towel, we are going to want, see, I'm not really tugging it tight. It will kind of just relax a little. If you want a loop on the end, cast off until you have 3 stitches. Okay? So let's get to 3. And once again, you don't have to do this cast off. It's fine. Whatever cast off you like, really. You could do a tubular. You could do... You don't even need to knit. This is like a knit cast off, so you're knitting the stitches. Some people just slip them. So moving them over, like you just slip like that, and then you pull the next one over top. I like having the tension controlled a little bit more. From my needle. See? So I'm going to get to the end. And then I'll show you the method for a hook. By the way, to make this, you do not need a circular needle like me, but when you get to the part where you are going to make the loop, you will need a circular or a double pointed needle, so just keep that in mind. I like doing everything on circulars. Not everybody does. A lot of people like the straight needles. So it's completely fine to have different styles of things you like. Hopefully I have enough yarn to finish. If you cut off your yarn like I did and you're not sure if you have enough yarn to get to the end of your row, what you would do is you see how far you can get, and then you would, if it didn't work, go back a row and do one more row, like by adding a ball of yarn or a new line, okay? And just get that tension in there, and then you can bind off. It won't affect it too much. Okay, we're almost there. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but keeping the quality match. See how it ends? It looks nice. So just keep going. Don't rush your bind offs ever. It's one of your last steps of your knitting, so you might as well do it nicely. Okay, here I'll show you one up close. Like that. I'll show you one more. Knit. Slip that through. Okay. So keep going. Last 3 stitches on the needle. I'm doing this in real time. I guess I could really just edit this to get to the end, but it's okay. I only have that many left. Alright. Let's see, how many do we have? Only a couple more. Oop. I'm almost there. Okay. All right. One more. Okay. So here's where we start. So you keep, see, I bound off all the way. Now we're going to keep the 3, and I'm just going to knit to the end. Okay? This is going to be called a tubular, it's going to be a tubular, gosh, I can speak. An I-cord. All right, that is right, an I-cord. But I've run out of string, so I'm going to have to, or yarn. So I'm going to have to just take apart some of that sample I was working on earlier. Okay, and I'm going to add my yarn. So what's important here, this is where you decide where your front is. So I decided this is going to be my front. I want to knit back this way, and I want this to be the front. So we're going to add our string or our yarn where we ended, and this might look a little funny, but we're just going to knit across. So this is going to be kind of funky, but or you could slip here to make it tighter. This is kind of just what happens when you don't give yourself enough. Okay, so I'm just going to knit across. All right, I've done it. So this is our first row. And now I'm going to work from the front. So at this point, you need a circular needle. Okay? So I'm just going to show you. You want the end that goes to your ball of yarn. And this looks funny right now, but we can tighten this up too. So we're just going to knit across like this, like we did last time, okay? I'm pulling on these, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide them down the needle. I like to just kind of hold them in place. And then we're gonna knit again. Make sure you have the end that goes to the ball of yarn. We're starting, see, this is where the tail ended, right on this stitch. We want to come and hit this first stitch, like knit. So when you do this, if you've never done this before, a knit I-cord, it's gonna feel kind of crazy. It's normal. So you never turn this. You just always move it down the needle. And now see, it's in the back. We're gonna move it to the front. Okay? So I'm gonna do this, and I'm going to get maybe like 3 inches, and then I'll bind off. Okay? So just keep going. I'm doing this real time, but it doesn't mean you can't just skip ahead. Okay, see? If I turn this around too, it creates a tube. So I'm eventually going to have enough here to make that loop. And you can always, if you don't want to do it this way, where you have the tube sit here on the end, you can have it, and it can really just kind of put it wherever. So just keep going, and you stop, and you have 3 inches or maybe more like 4. And then you'll bind off and sew everything in to create that loop. I don't feel like I need to show you how to do that. I think it's pretty evident, but so I'm gonna end it here. But see how you're creating that I-cord? You would loop it around when you have enough, and you'd kind of just bring it back to itself, and it could sit on a hook very easily. All right, so that is the end, oh wow, okay, of our broken rib stitch tutorial. So that is our hand cloth. Remember, you only really want to go maybe 16 inches wide and 30 inches long max. Okay, I've got, looks like a little mistake there, but there you go. That's the front, and here's the back. Really, you can do it any way you like. It creates a beautiful texture that's really fun. Very, it's not like sleek, but it's a little more neutral, like gender neutral. It's not frilly. It's very kind of towel quality blanket texture. So try that out, see if you like it, and hope you enjoy a new knit stitch. Something easy and simple to do for your summer projects.